This is the Paracave Podcast, proudly brought to you by major sponsor Jack's Pale Ale, exclusively available at Parramatta Leagues Club, Shannon Cooney from Glenmore Park Realty, Bo Cook from Loan Market, BTZD, the official apparel partner of the Paracave Podcast, and the Parramatta Times, the official media partner of the Paracave Podcast.
Welcome to another episode of the Paracave Podcast. And now over to your host, Troy Warner, broadcasting live from the world-famous Paracave.
And yes, hello and welcome back to another cracking episode of the Paracave Podcast. Troy Warner here, and this is the tipping podcast for round 19 of the NRL Premiership, and it is a bye weekend for some of the competition heavyweights. There are 7 buys this week, including the Brisbane Broncos, the Penrith Panthers, and the Melbourne Storm. The other teams that have got buys are the Cowboys, Newcastle Knights, Sydney Roosters, and the Manly Sea Eagles. So only 5 games this weekend, and it all kicks off on Thursday night at West Tigers and the Sharks at CommBank Stadium, one of the West Tigers' home grounds, which I think is going to be changed next year. They won't be playing out of CommBank, but for the meantime, this game is on Thursday and it is at CommBank Stadium. So, having a look at the teams, now this is 3rd versus 17th, and we all know that last week against the Cowboys, the Tigers got absolutely hammered. 74-0. So the West Tigers will not want to have another repeat of that result. I cannot see that happening this week, but you never know in rugby league. It is a very strange game indeed. So for the Tigers, Alex Twal is out, suspended for a hip drop tackle last week against the Cowboys, which he served 10 minutes in the sin bin for as well. Look, a stack of changes in this Tigers side. There is 2, 4, 6, 7 changes in total. Look, Tim Sheens has had to make a few changes due to suspension and probably due to performance as well. So Tommy Talau is back in the centres for the Tigers. Dane Laurie retains his position at 5'8". Brandon Wakeham at halfback. Stefano Utukamanu is in at prop after being dropped from State of Origin number 2. And yeah, so look, Newcastle, the West Tigers, they got a few changes there. Look, for the Sharks, they're relatively full strength, to be honest, that are going to face the Tigers. They've got William Kennedy still there, Nico Hines. Now, he'll be very disappointed that he hasn't made the State of Origin New South Wales team for Game 3 after Jerome Luai was dropped for Cody Walker. So Nico will be very disappointed that he will not be there in Game 3 for the Blues, but he is back at the Sharks, and the Sharks put it on a score last week against the Dragons, 52-16. So this could end up around the same score line as that game. Look, I'm going to tip the Sharks in this one for obvious reasons. I just do not think that the Tigers can bounce back that quickly against the Sharks from their loss last week against the Cowboys. They've got a lot of dramas going on at the Tigers, and again, this could be a very high-scoring game. I'm going to go the Sharks 13+ in this one. Now, the next game on Friday night, only the one game on Friday night, sees the Dragons, another club who is having a lot of dramas at the moment, take on the Canberra Raiders. down there in Wollongong at WIN Stadium. So the old Illawarra home ground, Illawarra Steelers home ground. Now, the Dragons, they tend to step up there, I think, a little bit at WIN Stadium. And the Raiders, well, look, they're playing some really good footy at the moment. They see themselves in 5th position on the ladder, and they are well and truly entrenched a bit in that top 8. So they have also got Hudson Young in their side. He was dropped from State of Origin for New South Wales for Game 3, so he is in the side this week. And look, they've still got Jack Whiten in there, and Jack Whiten there as he retired from New South Wales State of Origin football, representative football. Jared Croker, over 300 games now. Jamal Fogarty's playing some good footy. Hudson Young, he'll want to have a big game and just prove to those selectors that he probably should have been picked for Game 3, as he had played 2 games already. For the Dragons, well, their best player, Ben Hunt, who we all know about as having his dramas at the Dragons, he is obviously out due to representing Queensland State of Origin in Game 3 like he has the previous 2 games. So, look, this is going to be a tough gig for the Dragons. Tyrell Sloan is out as well, and Ben Hunt. So, a couple of attacking weapons out there. So, look, this could be a 13-plus game as well to the Raiders. I'm going to tip the Raiders in this one against the Dragons, just simply because Ben Hunt's out. The Dragons, look, they struggled all year. They haven't really offered much, to be honest. They might put up a little bit of a fight, but I can see the Raiders getting away with this one. So only the one game on Friday night again, and it kicks off at 8 p.m, and I think the NRL should probably have a look at that. And if there's only one game on a Friday night, why can't we bring it back to 7:30 p.m? Just that half an hour earlier start. Obviously can understand it why, if it's 8 p.m. kickoff, if there's 2 games on a Friday night, but if there's only one game on a Friday night, come on NRL, let's go 7:30 p.m. kickoff. It's only half an hour difference, and I'm sure the fans will appreciate that one. Now, Super Saturday, 2 games on Super Saturday sees the Parramatta Eels take on the New Zealand Warriors at CommBank Stadium. So a return for the Eels to CommBank, and after the bye last week, the Warriors had a loss to the South Sydney Rabbitohs. The Warriors go into this game as favourites. They sit in 8th position, the Eels in 6th position, and 3 big guns are out of their side. Clint Gutherson, Mitchell Moses and Regan Campbell-Gillard, who earned himself a recall to the New South Wales State of Origin side, as did Clint Gutherson. Mitchell Moses obviously played in Game 2, so he is back in Game 3. So 3 big guns for Parramatta out due to representative duties. Jermaine Hopgood has been named as 19th man for Queensland State of Origin team, but he is able to play on Saturday night in the lock position for Parramatta, so that's good news there. Junior Paulo, he got dropped from the New South Wales side, so he is the captain this week, the sole captain, with Clint Gutherson in State of Origin, so he will have a point to prove against his big New Zealand forward pack. A few little rumours about Sean Johnson. I believe he and his partner are having a baby sometime due this week. I heard the 10th of July the baby was due. Might come earlier, might come later. So just have to wait and see about that one. So he has been named at halfback for the Warriors, but he might be a late scratching in what would be his 200th game. A few other milestone games for the Warriors in this game on Saturday. As before mentioned, it will be Sean Johnson's 200th game in the NRL. 200th Warriors game for them if he plays. For Dylan Walker, it is his 200th NRL game. Adam Fanua-Blake is 150th NRL game, and Wade Egan celebrating his 100th NRL game. So a few milestone games there for the Warriors. Also, Micah Sevo also celebrates 100 NRL games as well. So the Warriors have a far more celebration reasons or try to get the win to celebrate those milestones of those different players, but Parramatta also have their milestone man in Micah Sevo as well. Sean Russell takes Clint Gutherson's spot back at fullback. Isaac Lumi comes in onto the wing for Sean Russell. Ryan Madison goes back to the 5/8 position. You saw him partner Dijon Arcee in the halves for the Manly game pre-Origin 2, and he is back there at 5'8 as well. Offa Hickey Ogden comes in for RCG. Some would say that he is a similar size and game to Junior Paolo. Brendan Hands retains his position. Josh Hodgson is still out. And on the interchange bench, Luca Moretti, Joe Offahengawi. Sean Lane makes his return on the interchange bench after having a few weeks out. So great to see Sean Lane back. He's had an injury interrupted season, so it'd be great to see Sean Lane back playing for Parramatta. Now, look, this is going to be a really hard game to tip. As I said, the three players out for Parramatta, they are key to their side, that winning the game. Obviously last time there was an Origin game on and Mitchell Moses was out due to State of Origin 2. Clint Gutherson was still there at fullback. So look, it's going to be interesting. Depending on whether Sean Johnson plays or not, he's been one of the Warriors' best players this season. This is going to be a very close game. This is going to be a 1-12 game, I think. I'm going to tip the Eels. Look, a lot of people will probably say that's no surprise, but I think they can just get the job done. This is a big test for Dijon Arcee as well, at halfback as well. He stood up in that Manly game when Mitchell was out, and has been playing some really good footy at 5/8 as well, whilst Dylan Brown has been suspended. So, look, I'm going to go to the Eels. I'm going to go 1-12. I think the Warriors will put up a good fight. Dallin Watene-Zelezniak has been scoring tries left, right and centre as well, so we'll have to watch out for the flying mullet as well. So, look, I'm going to go 1-12 Parramatta. The next game on Super Saturday sees the Rabbitohs take on the Bulldogs, so 7th take on 15th. Now, the Bulldogs coming off that 66-0 loss against the Newcastle Knights last week at Accor Stadium, so they return back to Accor Stadium, but it is a Rabbitohs home game, so they have 4 players out due to State of Origin, all for New South Wales. Cameron Murray, Cody Walker, Damien Cook and Keon Koloamatangi as well. So very interesting to see how South Sydney go without those players in their side. A little bit of a different looking forward pack for them with all those representative players forward. So Havili comes in at hooker. We've got Ben Lovett in the second row, Michael Cheekham second row, and Shaq Mitchell as well in at lock. So a little bit of a different looking forward pack. Tom Burgess in the front row, I should say, captains the side this week. So a big honour for Tom to captain the South Sydney Rabbitohs with Cam Murray not there, Damien Cook not there. So a big honour for him. Alex Johnston, how many tries will he score against the Bulldogs this week and go up that ladder of the try scoring list? I think he's equal third at the moment with he's equal third on that ladder at the moment, so on 180 tries I think it is. Interesting one for the Bulldogs, Toby Sexton from the Gold Coast. The Bulldogs have signed him and have rushed him straight into the side to partner Matt Burton, who goes back to the 5'8" position and captain. So he goes back to 5'8", and Toby Sexton will make his Bulldogs debut this weekend against the South Sydney Rabbitohs. I can probably see the Rabbitohs winning this game as well. It's going to take a lot for the Bulldogs to get back into form, and especially after a thrashing like that, they will want to. I just can't see that happening. So I'm going to tip South Sydney. I think they still have a nucleus of good players around, so I'll go them 13 plus against the Bulldogs. And the last game of the round sees a Queensland affair up at Cbus Super Stadium on the Gold Coast. It is the Gold Coast Titans versus the Dolphins. So a few Dolphins out. Felice Kafusi, Hamiso Tabuai-Fidow. He is on origin duty for Queensland. And a few Gold Coast Titans players out for State of Origin duties. AJ Brimson replaces the suspended Reece Walsh for Queensland. David Fafita, Mo Fotuaika, and Big Tino as well representing Queensland. So they've got a different looking forward pack as well. Big Tino's brother Isaac, he replaces Tino. Jamin Jolliffe into the front row as well. Sam Verrills is in at hooker, so he'll be a key part in that forward pack. Someone with his experience, a grand final winner as well, so good to see him there. Kieran Foran captains the side this weekend. Jaden Campbell goes back to fullback for AJ Brimson. So the Titans, they see themselves in 10th position, so they want to get this win against the Dolphins just to stay in touch with that top 8. So they'll want to get this win and stay there because they've had all their byes this year. So they want to get this win and stay there. So the last time these two teams played was back in April this year. The Dolphins got a 2-point win up against the Titans in that game. So very close encounter there. Look, I think it's going to be another close encounter this week on Sunday as well. I'm going to go the Dolphins in this one, 1-12. They played pretty well against the Broncos last week, their big brother. They only lost 24-16. The week before that, they had a massive first half loss against the Eels. So, look, I'm going to go the Dolphins to bounce back against the Gold Coast Titans. It'll be a 1-12 game, I think. I'm going to tip the Dolphins in that one. So my tips for this week will be the Sharks, the Raiders, the Eels, the Rabbitohs, and the Dolphins. And then, of course, on Wednesday night, so Wednesday week, the 12th of July will be game number 3 in the Ampol State of Origin series between the Blues and the Maroons. I hope to have a game day preview of that one next week, State of Origin preview, so stay tuned for that one. Hopefully I can have something out for that. But yeah, Blues and Maroons, Game 3, 12th of July. And then back after that, there will be your regular 8 games per week all the way until round 27 of the competition and then finals. So happy tipping. If you're having a bet on these, gamble responsibly. Have some fun with it. I know I do have a little bit of fun with it, but gamble responsibly and have some fun. Let me know if your tips are the same as my tips or if you got something different. I would love to hear some feedback. Thank you very much for listening and appreciate the support.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Paracave Podcast. See you next time.